Let's not waste any time and show you guys my desk setup. This is my desk setup as a self-taught developer. This is the tabletop called Rodolph from IKEA. It's in the color white. The size is 140 by 80 centimeters and it was just 30 euros. And if we go down, we have the two famous Alex drawers from IKEA in the color white. And these were 70 euros each. And you can also see my cable management, which is non-existent. So my desk is entirely from IKEA and quite cheap. It doesn't always have to be expensive to be good and to look good. And for the chair, I used the Herman Miller sale, which was 550 euros. I highly recommend the chair, especially for people that sit a lot and work behind their desk just like developers. So the bottom is really soft and the back support is great. And it's quite adjustable, not as good as the more expensive Herman Millers. For example, the Aeron or the Embody. But those are like 2-3 times more expensive than this one. But I don't think that's worth it. I think this one has great value for its price and that's why I recommend this chair. For the keyboard I use a Keychron K10, which costs 120 euros. And it is a 100% keyboard. The reason why I really like to have a 100% keyboard, so a full width keyboard, because I really like to have the volume and the play button. Let me show you guys how it sounds. I love the sound of mechanical keyboards, but my girlfriend hates it. She thinks it's way too loud. It's a wireless keyboard, so I can move it easily to another place. So I can clean up this space, so I can put my laptop here and use my laptop. That's what I really like about a wireless keyboard. But when the battery is empty, I have to use the cable to charge it. So yeah, this is how it looks with the cable on. Because the cable is quite small, it looks really ridiculous. Look at this. So yeah, that's a disadvantage of this keyboard. But yeah, you could just solve it by just charging it when you're not using it. This is a gaming mouse mat from Bluebuild. You can see the logo over here. And this was 33 euros. For the monitors, I have two monitors, both from Iyama and they're both 24 inches. They are exactly the same. They were 150 euros each. So in total 300. They're not great for gaming. They only have a refresh rate of 75, which is not bad, but not optimal. But that's why they're also quite cheap. But for me, for regular use, it's perfectly fine. The amount of brightness that the screens give are great. And the stands are adjustable in height and in rotation. That's really nice, especially for this price point. The monitors also have inbuilt speakers, but they are terrible. So that brings me to the next point, which are speakers. These Logitech speakers are 60 euros. It's 60 euros combined for the both of them. They're not separate, they're sold in duos and they're linked with cables. So these speakers are a disaster for cable management, but they are cheap. As for the mouse, I use the Corsair M55 RGB Pro, which is kind of a gaming mouse. I really like it. It's not too small. It's good for the ergonomics of my hand. And this mouse is 40 euros. It is not wireless. I did use a wireless mouse for a while, but I had to change the battery too often, like once every 2 weeks. And that was just such a hassle for me. And therefore I got rid of the Bluetooth mouse and bought this mouse. Next up is my laptop, which is a Lenovo Legion 5. It's quite heavy, but it's a workhorse. It's good for gaming and video editing. It has 512 gigabytes of memory, 16 gigabytes of RAM. The screen has a diagonal size of 15.6 inches. It has an Intel Core i7 as CPU, and for GPU it has a GeForce RTX 3070. So it's quite powerful, but it is quite expensive. It's 1600 euros. And because it's such a powerful laptop, the battery life is really low. On low performance it will last like 2 hours. But on high performance it will maybe just last you like 45 minutes. So always bring your charger, which is a big disadvantage of this laptop, because this is the charger. It's a huge block and it weighs quite a lot. As for headset, I use this one, the JBL Quantum 350 wireless. So it looks like this. And what I really like about this is that it's wireless, so it doesn't get in the way when I'm working. And you also have a mic that you can put on. And when you need it, you can just plug it in like this. And then you have a headset with microphone. And this one was 66 euros. So this is the PC that I built myself 5 years ago. But I'm still using it, it's still really powerful. The good thing about building your own PC is that you can swap your parts whenever you want. So for example, I first had another video card and after a while it didn't perform as I wanted to, so I just swapped the GPU. So the PC case is from NZXT, it's a black one, really simple, really clean, and one side of it has a glass panel, so you can look into the PC. But let me remove the glass panel so you guys can see inside. So it's actually really easy to remove. There are just 4 bolts that are holding it. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So just unscrew those and the panel will open. Yeah, I just removed the panel so you guys can see inside. So I'll just tell you the most interesting parts that I have and the prices. But I will put the list right here with all the parts and with all the prices that are in this build. Yeah, the most interesting thing is of course the GPU. It's the GeForce RTX 3080, really powerful. I actually never use the full potential. I barely game, so I actually don't even use the potential. I do my video editing on my PC, so that's where it's getting used a little bit, but not a lot. I bought it for retail price, so it wasn't too expensive for me, but it was still 975 euros. I also have 2 sets of 2x8 gigabytes of RAM from Corsair. I haven't changed it since I bought the PC, so 5 years ago. But if I want to, I could change it to 2x16 or 2x32 gigabytes of RAM. But right now I don't need it. 16 gigabytes of RAM is plenty enough for me right now. As for memory, I have 500 megabytes of SSD and 1 terabyte of HDD. But I've barely used the HDD. I have still like 1 terabyte left of HDD memory that I'm not using. But the 500 gigabytes of SSD memory is almost full. For the people that are building their own PC, I would highly recommend you getting a bigger SSD card than 500 gigabytes. I would get at least 1 terabyte if you can. And for the processor, I'm using the AMD Ryzen 5 3600 processor. So in total this cost me 4,723 euros.